Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a demo slash first impressions of the Natasha Denona mini retro palette. So of course I will be doing some swatches, but I just wanted to show you this palette up close. I will get the shade names correct this time. I don't know what happened to me in the last video when I was filming the mini star palette. It was very frustrating. It was it's because when you turn the palette around, see how you have the shade names? Well, they're actually backwards, so it doesn't like match the pan. Like, so when you're reading it, you know, it's not matching, it's actually backwards, it's mirrored, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. So before we get started, let me go ahead and tell you what I have on my face. I have my Bare Minerals Original Foundation, and I am in the color Light, number 8. I also have my Bare Minerals Translucent Setting Powder on my face as well. It's mirrored, so. And for bronzer, I am just using the original formula from Chanel. This is the Soleil de Tan bronzer. I'm really, you guys, I have to show you this. I am like, look at the dent I've made in this, because I really didn't want it to get old and I wanted to use it up, you know. This is a $50 bronzer, so ain't nobody got time to be throwing away that kind of money. So I'm really proud of myself for sticking to it. And then for blush and highlight, I am using my Tarte Bazaar blush palette, blush and highlight palette, because there's 2 highlighters in here. And this was actually a gift from a friend of mine, Maria, if you're watching this, thank you. And I'm so happy. For some reason, the outer packaging, I just thought this was an eyeshadow palette, and I put it with my eyeshadows. And one day I opened it and I'm like, this is not an eyeshadow, this is a blush palette. So immediately I started using it, because I have to say I think this is probably like 2 years old. So I have Endless on my cheeks, and this is a highlight I'm wearing in Worthy. And then for eyeshadow primer, I am using my Bare Minerals Bright and Flawless eyeshadow primer. Let's get started. Alright, so I am going to try and use all of the shades in this palette like I did when I used the mini star palette. So let's see, what shade shall I start with first? So I'm gonna go ahead and go into Vintage Taupe, which is a creamy matte, and I'm going to use a MAC 286 brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply that to the crease. So immediately there is kick up from this particular shade, which is not something I am used to with Natasha Denona palettes. You know, I've used her bigger palettes and I haven't gotten too much kick up even when I use the matte shades. Just bringing a mirror a little bit closer here, because that viewfinder is just too small. So these little mini palettes are very travel friendly. They're very thin, they're sleek, They don't take up a lot of room in your makeup bag. So packaging wise, I really like them. These retail for $25, but you can get 20% off right now if you haven't used your Sephora coupon. I think the code is GIFTEASY. It is a one-time use, so make sure that you have everything you want. And it doesn't matter what tier you are. It doesn't matter if you're Beauty Insider or a VIB. Everybody gets 20% off one time. All right. So that is the crease shade on the lid. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit. I always forget to do this. Next, I'm going to go in with my Real Techniques base shadow brush. And I'm gonna go into this really pretty green shade right here. And this one is called Industrial. It is considered a metallic shade. And I'm going to place that on the outer corner of the eye. So I'm gonna go in with a light hand, just gonna pat this on the outer corner here. And then blend, 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 blend. That's pretty. Like that. All right, let's go in with a little bit more, and I'm just patting that before I blend it, and that's just to try to prevent as much fallout as possible. But I am just concentrating that on the outer corner of the eye. You guys, I'm really not sure how this look is gonna come out. I don't know if all these colors are gonna work together, because this green and these pinks, I'm not sold. I'm not sold. This could be a disaster. You guys may never see this video, depending on how this look comes out. We'll see. So just patting that, doing the same thing to the other eye. Now, I'm not super concerned about skipping right now, because there's gonna be a lot of blending that's gonna happen here. Just making sure this is even on both sides. It's pretty. It's a pretty metallic. It does have a silver undertone, so this is like a cool toned green. I really like it. All right, next I want to go in with my Real Techniques. What is this called? It's called the Full Coverage Eye Brush, and this is number 321. So it's kind of like a short, domey shader brush. And I want to go into the color Pixie, which is this really pink shade right here. I'm going to apply that to the inner corner of the eye, and I want it to meet with the green that I just placed down. If you hear my dog, he's terrorizing a poor unfortunate soul walking down the street, getting some fresh air on this beautiful morning. Okay. Oh, I didn't even tell you. Pixie is considered a metallic shade, in case you were wondering. So I'm just kind of meshing that together. Let me do the same thing to the other side. So you guys have any plans for the holidays? Traveling to see family? I'm not, because I will have a newborn, so I will be home in my pajamas. Yeah. Will I wear makeup? Maybe. We don't know. We shall see. Probably not. But it will be a pajama day. All right, next I want to go in with, this is a dual-ended brush that I have had for decades from It Cosmetics. It Cosmetics has some of the best synthetic brushes. Highly recommend. But I am going to use the liner part, and I am going to go into, oh, actually, no. Before I do that, I'm going to use my Bare Minerals, a flat shader. I just have like a flat shader brush. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. It's very flat, very thin. And I'm going to go into Galaxy, which is considered, it's a K, so I think it's like a crystal shade. I think that's what I've come to the conclusion. I've tried to look it up, and I think it's K stands for crystal. Even though it's crystal spelled with a C, but because she has CM for her creamy mattes. Gonna place that right in the center where those two shades that I place on the inner and the outer corner meet. That's where I am placing Galaxy. And I didn't wet my brush, so wanted to keep this subtle. So far, I'm liking it. Haven't used that creamy matte army green there, so bear with me. All right, so I've put that in the center of the lid. Now we can go in with that liner brush, and let's go into this matte. It's a creamy matte army colored green, and this one's called 60s. And I'm just gonna apply this directly onto the lash line first, and then we're gonna go in with the smudger brush. So pigmentation is there. Do the same thing to the other eye. These matte shades are super creamy. So trying to keep that really close to the lash line. Do you guys have like any special like traditional holiday entrees you like to make? You know, kind of like Thanksgiving, you know how people always have turkey. and, you know, like stuffing and stuff like that. What do you guys have for the holidays? I'm curious to know. Once I have laid that down, I'm gonna go in with the other end of the brush, which is the smudger brush. I'm gonna dip in there, and I am patting it on the back of my hand just to get any of that excess off the brush, because I don't want to have too much fallout. And then I am going to deepen out this outer corner right here. And then I want to do the same thing to the other side. So, my family's Cuban. We have pork every holiday. I mean, like 5 years ago, maybe 6, we started eating fried turkey. We've never gone back. We will never have turkey any other way. And if it's not fried, I don't want it. It really helps keep the turkey, the moisture, like just perfect. It's always tastes amazing. Locks in those flavors. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna go back to my Real Techniques brush, and this was the brush that I used to apply this metallic shade, industrial, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get a little bit more of that, and I'm just accentuating the crease area right here. Mind you, for the sake of this video, I'm trying to use all of these colors, but with this palette, you don't have to use all of these colors. If you want to stick with 2 or 3 colors, one single shade, call it a day, you know. All right, I'm gonna go back in with my MAC 286 brush, and I'm gonna grab a little bit more of that vintage taupe shade, and I'm just gonna soften the edges out. And I'm gonna start with the inner corner here. And then do the same thing to the other side. And then I'm gonna go in with a clean blender brush. And this is my Sigma E40 blender brush. This is it's clean. So I'm just going to blow out the edges, really soften everything, so we don't have any hard edges. Gonna go back in with my MAC 286, pick up a little bit more of that vintage taupe, apply it to the crease. And then go back in with my Sigma clean blending brush. And clean, clean, clean. Okay. I feel like we've blended to no end. All right, so just so that I can show you, there is a lot of kick up throughout this pan, especially with the matte shades. So if that's a huge pet peeve of yours, you are not gonna like this palette. I know you're not supposed to blow your palettes, but I do. Don't do what I do, okay? But just want you to know, because I can already hear some of you in the comments, don't blow your palettes. I'm gonna keep doing it. It's a bad habit. I haven't been able to kick it. All right, moving right along. Let's go ahead and apply some mascara, lipstick, and brow gel. I will be right back. All right, so I didn't do anything special off camera. All I did was apply my Tom Ford fiber brow gel to my brows and some Bare Minerals Lash Domination mascara to my bottom and top lashes. And then I went in with my Fenty Beauty Cream in Candy Milk. And this is the one that I hauled that came in the Fenty Beauty Holiday set I had shown you guys. I just thought what an appropriate color, you know, for this look. And so let me just give you a really quick close-up of the eyeshadow look. I wasn't too sure about how all of these colors were gonna play together. You know, the army greens with the pinks. I was scared there for a moment, but it worked out. I do have to say, if you haven't tried the Fenty lip creams, super comfortable, very hydrating. It's like wearing a lipstick because they're super pigmented, so you really do get the same opacity you would using a lipstick, except in gloss form. Now let's get into swatches before we get into my overall thoughts of this palette. So the first shade I want to go ahead and swatch is going to be Galaxy. And this is a beautiful champagne pink. And then, oh, I don't have any, in case you guys were wondering, I don't mention this in my videos, but I think I should start doing it because I feel like some of you ask. I don't put primer on my skin when I do these swatches. So these swatches are done without a primer. So this is that pretty like crystallized pink shade. The next one that I'm going to swatch is a metallic shade, and this one is Industrial. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably my favorite shade in the entire palette. It has a beautiful olive green tone, but it has that silver undertone, it's very cool, which I absolutely love. The next one will be 60s. This is a creamy matte. This is the other green shade in the palette. Now with this one, I do have to say, the swatching is pretty difficult. So this is what it looks like on my finger, but it swatches patchy, which is strange because you guys saw me apply the shadow and it doesn't apply patchy. So I'm not sure if it's that these creamy mattes are better used with a brush, kind of like her special shades. She says it's better to use them with a finger. I wonder if her creamy mattes kind of have the same rules, you know, use a brush instead of, they're applied best with a brush instead of a finger. The next creamy matte shade I'm going to swatch will be Vintage Taupe, and this is the one we used as a transition shade. This one's really pretty. Can I use my pinky to swatch that one? Let me make it a little bigger. Let me make it a little bigger. There we go. Honestly, you guys, one of the nicest taupe, pink taupe shades I've ever seen. And then with my thumb, I'm going to swatch the last shade, Pixie. And this one is another metallic. And that one will be right here. So you don't have to use all of these shades at the same time the way that I did for the sake of this video. Honestly, these shades are beautiful no matter what way you use them. You can, you know, do one and done shades, whatever you want. But I think that out of all of the mini palettes that she has, Mini Retro, I think, in my opinion, is the most user-friendly for those of you who are kind of new to makeup, or, you know, have to wear, like, you know, subtle makeup to work, but you want a little something, you know, like a little sparkle, a little edge. I think that this one is the nicest one in my opinion, just because I think it's the least dark. And what I mean by that, it has the least amount of deep, really deep shades, because I feel like in using these eyeshadows in the video, I felt like this shade right here, which is Industrial, didn't come out as dark as I thought it would. I think that the darkest shade in this palette, which was very heavily pigmented, was this one right here, and this one was a creamy matte in 60s. That's the name of the shade, 60s. I mean, and you guys saw I used it as a liner, so it doesn't matter. Like, if you want to stick with your pinks or you want to stick with your greens, you can always just use this shade consistently as an eyeliner or a smudging eyeliner shade, because I feel like out of the 5 shades, that's just the deepest one. But I really like this palette. Do I think it has anything to do with its sister palette, the Retro palette? Don't be ridiculous. There's nothing. I mean, I was super excited for the MIDI Retro palette, and because I thought it was gonna have this color scheme, but it didn't. Let me show you that. Packaging wise, it's similar, but eyeshadow wise, there's no similarity here, folks. There is no similarity here. So I don't see it. I don't see it. However, I hope that she does come out with one of these MIDI palettes with this exact color scheme. I would like to see those taupey pinks with kind of that slight brown pink undertone. I would love to see those cool toned greens in, you know, a palette like this. So we'll see. Natasha Denona did say that she was not done with Retro, so which means that I have a feeling there's another one of these that's gonna be coming out soon, and I hope it's actually gonna be similar to this right here, because I feel like this is what we were all hoping for, which is, I think, was the big critique from everyone was, you know, we were so excited, like why weren't there any greens in that palette, because people really love these shades right here, you know. And I can understand why. They are unique. I mean, it's not, how many palettes do you have in your collection that have those beautiful wearable greens? Because green is such a tricky shade to work with in my opinion, just because green is one of those statement colors where when you wear it, there's no mistake, you know. It's like, oh wow, you're wearing green. But these, I mean, just beautiful. I mean, I can totally see you being able to do like a smoky eye with just laying this matte shade on the lid and just rubbing like with your finger, swiping this metallic shade over it, and maybe popping this light one on top. Again, that's another really cool look that I think would look amazing. But because this was like a first impressions video, I did want to be able, like I did want to use all the shades to be able to show you. Let me show you these swatches one more time. So I have to say, I really liked working with these shadows. It's not like a super pet peeve of mine to have kick up, but between the mini star and that I just did a video on and this one, I feel like this palette did have a bit more kick up, significant kick up, you know, than the other one. So if that's not your jam, maybe skip out on this. But if you haven't used your Sephora coupon for the sale that's currently going on, I highly recommend. Anybody else wish that Natasha Denona would come to Ulta? Anybody else like wishing that that would happen? Because I'm really hopeful that that's gonna happen. Or like, if Fenty Beauty can please come to Ulta, can we make that happen? No? Okay. All right, well, that completes this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.